All right, recording has started, guys. We're going to jump in today. Bruce and I are going to share my screen here, and Bruce and I are going to run some numbers on, not run some numbers, pull a list of buyers. That's right, Bruce, right?
Correct. Yep.
Pull a list of buyers. Are you going to start calling these guys for to see what they have, or do you have something you want to sell them, or both?
Correct. I'm gonna do the reverse wholesaling. Take
Perfect.
that out.
I think that's a great approach, bro. I really do. All right, Propstream, load her up, baby. Load her up. Here we go.
So something I wanted to run by you. So I'm currently in Columbus, Georgia, which is like
Yep.
a smaller market than Atlanta. Would you or less busy, I would say. Would you say start here or continue with Atlanta? I've
Well,
been down here for about 4 more months.
where are you at right now?
Columbus, Georgia.
Let's see, just so I can kind of get an idea how far away that is from.
It's about from Atlanta. It's like an hour and 40 minutes.
I would say both, man. I mean,
Yeah, let's do it.
if you're gonna pick one
Mhm.
and you're gonna be there for 4 months, I would at least hit it hard for a month, if not 2 months. And the reason I say that is because that gives you 2 whole months to follow up with people and try to
Mhm.
get those appointments versus having to move back and then make that long drive all the time.
Mhm.
You're going to have more competition in Atlanta,
Mhm.
but you're also going to have more people that might be motivated. So there's really no right answer. I
Okay.
would just say market regardless. And if you're already in this little area down here, I mean, there's 70,000 properties, 65,000 properties down there. I would say
Mhm.
definitely do some marketing there. Haven't had a ton of success in Atlanta. So, dude, change it up. Do it here.
Yeah.
You know, don't stop
Right.
any current existing marketing
Mhm.
campaign that you have already going in Atlanta, obviously. And if that's where you plan on living and being after this 4 month period of time, for
Mhm.
whatever reason you're down there for work or whatever, I mean, I'd always suggest marketing in your backyard, but your backyard changed. So change the approach, bro. Absolutely.
Got it.
So you want to try to pull buyers in this area for today?
Yeah. Let's do Columbus. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So Columbus, Georgia. Click that in here just like I did. You got 65,956 properties. If you click right here, you're going to get an instant list of buyers, right? What I typically like to do is we have our quick links selected. For the search criteria, I don't know if this is going to change it or not. So any, so what it's pulling here is it's pulling 9,000 transactions of houses that were bought cash, basically, or didn't use a bank financing. So not all of these are going to be investors, right? So what we want to do today is we want to try to narrow that down to the investor properties. So our quick list choices, I'm going to put it cash buyers. So it selects our cash buyers. I believe there's also some other options in here that we can select for cash buyers. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get that list down to 1,500 or less. And even that's kind of
Mhm.
crazy. Like ideally, we can maybe get it down to 4, 5, 600. So property classifications, I'm going to click my residential. That's going to take us down to 6,300. Property types, we'll do all of these here. Maybe reduce the condo and the townhome. So we got singles and small multis. We don't want anything less than 700 feet. 6,100 goes to 6,000. So that took about 100 off. give or take. MLS status, we want as no, because we don't really want people that, and that didn't change much. We took off 95 properties, but that basically says, people that bought cash on the MLS. Actually, we could leave that on since it's such a small amount, because investors still buy off the MLS, right?
Mhm.
Listed below market price. So, I mean, there you go right there. That's a pretty good list that you could go in at, but let's leave that as any, because if it wasn't listed anyway, and you only had 100 of them, then that one won't even really matter. Pre-foreclosure, bank owned, none of that really affects us. Ownership info. I mean, what you could do is you could say, I want to see people that own a minimum of 2 properties
Mhm.
or even 4. Now, the only downside to this is if they're owned if you have a guy that owns 100 houses, but they're all owned in individual LLCs, which was super rare to have, an individual LLC per property.
Mhm.
It's not going to truly represent what they have. So maybe we leave that alone for now. Let's see, liens, bankruptcy, divorce. None of that really matters for our cash buyers. The equity, if we put that at like 25, usually I like to do 30, 35, or even 40 on that. But if I put that to
Okay.
25, that is good because that means that these people that are buying bought. Well, no, that doesn't make sense though, because if they're paying cash, they'd have 100% equity. So let's try to go to 50. That doesn't even take our list down anyway. 5,700 was, and then if you take it to 0, you're at 6,000. I only took off what, 300. So that one I wouldn't even mess with. Here you go, cash buyers. Any. If we include, it's not going to change anything. If we exclude, all of them are going to go away because we're pulling the cash buyers list. So we'll leave that at any. I don't really want seller carryback per se. It doesn't even change anything. Free and clear, it's on any. So it might not be the best idea to do the whole market in this case.
Okay.
Occupancy status. See, I'd really like owner occupied better. So if we took that to no, man, that didn't even drop. 6,095 didn't even change it. So I guess this occupancy status may not be effective when you're looking at the cash buyers, but ideally I'd like to find cash buyers that didn't buy to move in,
Mhm.
So if we look at the occupancy status of just those vacants, that's cash buyers that bought a property recently. I would assume that's within a year and the property's vacant. So they're probably either fixing it up, rehabbing it. I mean, they could be moving in too, though. That's the thing. So, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here, Bruce. That's really what I'm trying to get at. So we can play with this and I can
Okay.
pull it for you and send it to you, or you can obviously just kind of look over my shoulder here and see what I'm doing. If it
Mhm.
was me, here's probably what I would do. I would go in and I would look at estimated values. See, I don't know this market very well. So let's just take a look here. So all of it is pretty routine. Unless
So
you're
the
up in the
south side
city.
is like more, it's kind of similar to like Atlanta. The south side is more like I won't say run down, but it's more like lower income, kind of more hood areas. The
Mhm.
more north you go, like
Yeah, I mean, this is
more
obviously
higher income.
this is your nice area right up here, right?
Mhm.
And that's based on estimated value per square foot. So these homes are getting higher values per foot, probably better schools, less
Okay.
crime, so on and so forth. If we look at MLS status and listing price per square foot, it should be really similar. It's not even showing anything. Price growth. Let's look at the 3-year. Clear all. Yeah, we're not even getting any data on that. If we go to, oh, there it goes. It just took a while. So we're not seeing a ton. Oh, there it goes. It's still loading. So yeah, again, you're getting some of the reds up in this top, like what is that, northwest corner. Rental values, if we do rent price just in general, again, northwest corner. So I mean, that's your hot spot. I would say you're going to have rehabbers up here though, wanting to do flips. And then all the rest here, you're going to, it's probably good rentals in general. So where are you at in terms of this map?
I'm more south, where you see like I'm closer to where it says um Fort Benning and Fort Mitchell. It's really small. So I mean like
Okay, yeah. So driving here to there is like 10 minutes then.
yeah, it's nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
The location of where we actually choose doesn't matter as long as where you think it would be the most prevalent.
Yeah. So here's what I would suggest. Let's just do it one more time with Columbus, Georgia. This is going to give us the whole, oh, that ain't right. Columbus, Georgia. God damn it. There we go. Still didn't do it. Stupid thing. There we go. And we'll just do a quick filter list right here for our cash buyers.
Okay.
And it's going to give us 9,000 of them. So from there, what I'd probably recommend, is we're going to take our MLS status to no. I know that's kind of minimal, but let's take that to no. Actually, let's leave that on. Let's go over here to ownership information, years of ownership, and let's see if that changes anything. So let's say that somebody owns something for 3 years. So really what we could do is we could really, I guess, click 1 year on the max. And there you go. That's basically the transactions that happened in the last year that were cash. I didn't realize that they weren't doing that already. So that's really what we're looking for here, right? Somebody that's bought in the last, really maybe even 1.5 years, right? Is it letting me do a point there?
Damn,
I
like
can't do a point.
Oh, okay.
So this is years. So you could just do 1. 1 year is good. That's a maximum of 1 year. Really? It depends on how big you want your list. But I'd start with that. Number of properties owned doesn't really matter. Mortgage info, it's not really that important. But what we probably want to do though is get our characteristics. So like you're not looking for anything less than, oh, that's not right. Square footage, you want 700 feet minimum. And if 751's too big, then what you could always do is put your minimum at 2. That'll probably take a little bit off, took 100 off to put you at 623. And if you wanted to, you could even go to 3-bedroom, but I wouldn't. I'd stay at 2 just because we do deals on 2-bedroom houses all the time. Anything less than 700. I mean, again, you could go up higher. You could go to 750. It's going to reduce your number a little bit. You could go to 650. 650 square foot house is small. There's not even that many of them. I'd probably just leave it at 700. Exclude HOAs. You can leave that in there. And then the only other thing you could really do to like, if you wanted to narrow that down even more, would be the value and equity. And don't change the equity per se, but maybe the estimated value. So like, anything less than like 15,000 is typically going to be kind of a waste of time. And let's just kind of look at here and see what they got. So you got a couple of that are like at 1 million, and those are just going to be tough. So I'd maybe put the max at like, I don't know, 350. Now, you don't have to do this exactly like I'm doing, of course, but this is what I would do essentially. So you're looking for cash buyers. I mean, again, if you wanted to take this out to 2 years, it's going to, it's going to double your number basically. I would think you're pretty safe though. If, any cash buyer that's bought within a year, they're serious and they're somewhat recent, and hopefully they bought more. If you wanted to even go, and say something, a number of properties owned, I want to see people that, have bought within the last year that own 3 properties. I mean, these are basically your flippers and your landlords, assuming they're buying properties in the same business, which they typically do. So here's your legend: cash buyer, 2 or more bedrooms, 700 or more square feet, years of ownership, 1 or fewer. Again, you could put that at 2 or 3, but I think 1 is going to be best. Number of properties owned. Again, you don't have to have any here if you don't want. So if we take that to 0, you're going to go up to, what was that, 600? So, I mean, it's probably not worth filtering out the 3, because that takes down, what is that, 150? If you take it to 2, whoop, that puts you at, 530. So maybe it's really up to you. I mean, how many people are you looking to get? Are you wanting to cold call them? Are you wanting to cold text them? What are you thinking?
This is, I mean, at the current moment, I just have Korean working.
Okay.
I mean, not Korean, but the one cold caller. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing.
You want to have them cold call?
How am I going to contact this list? I was just gonna actually reach out to them on my cell phone. But if you think it's easier to do like a campaign, or if you think it'll save me some time, then I'm definitely
Yeah. See, with the cash buyers, man, I wouldn't try to make it too efficient, because what ends up happening is you're gonna lose quality people, right? So like, you can use a dialer, but I wouldn't have it set to 4 numbers at once. I'd have it set to 2.
Got it.
Because you know what I'm saying? Because your goal isn't to leave voicemails to cash buyers. It's to get them on the phone.
Yeah.
So you could put them into the dialer and call them. I just would scale back the speed a little bit. And then when you do get people, bro, the message is so incredibly simple. It's just, hey, I was just, running some numbers on some properties in town. I see that you've bought a couple cash. I'm also an investor, and actually I specialize in wholesaling and finding investors deals. Are you looking to buy some more properties? And if the answer is no, then thanks for your time. And if the answer is yes, then great. I'm Dave, or I'm Bruce, whatever. I would love to find you your next deal. And people are going to typically be a lot more friendly to talk to whenever you are calling them, trying to provide them value, versus calling them trying to see if they want to sell and make them a low offer, right? So you're going to have a much higher response rate. You're also going to have more people that are probably going to be a little friendlier. But then, what are you looking for? Are you a flipper? Are you a landlord? And, don't overthink it, dude. Just make a spreadsheet. Use Google Docs, use Google Sheets, use Excel. I like Google because it's in the cloud and you don't have versions. It's all up to date all the time. And just, make simple notes: name, phone number, email. And this is also the best way to build your buyers list. I mean, if you were to go with this route, and this is with 2 people that own 2 properties, let's say you take that down to just people that, because again, people will buy in different LLCs. So that number is not always a super accurate, but I would say this would be what I would do if I were you. You could even take that 15,000 up or down, depending on, the market better than me. We do deals all the time on little shitty houses for 15 grand or even less. So maybe not discount it too low, but you're typically wanting to remove the sheds. It's really, the 700 square foot kind of does that. So if you wanted to also move that, again, you could. Maybe don't go below 10 though. I mean, you want to keep that, you want to have a minimum. So that added like 11 properties. So yeah, I would say this would be a great place to start. 611, if you're paying like 12 cents roughly to skip trace these, 611 times 0.12, you're talking $75 to skip trace this list. And then from there, cold call them or cold text them. I think cold calling is probably your best bet, but maybe do both. Maybe cold call, and then the ones that you can't reach, like it doesn't make sense to cold text somebody that you've already spoke to that's not trying to buy anything, right? So use these softwares as to your advantage, right? So maybe cold call, and then create your list, filter it out. And anybody that's not interested, don't export those people. Anybody that, that you aren't able to reach, export just those people, the ones that, you weren't able to get through, and then text them, or vice versa. But even when you text, though, you have to understand the goal is always to get them on the phone. So if you are texting them, after you verify that, that you got somebody that is an investor, landlord, flipper, whatever, the call to action should be, can I call you? Are you available? When's a good time to talk? Or feel free to call me whenever you have some time. So, I mean, this part of the business is going to be time consuming. I'm going to be straightforward with you, but this is some of the most highest return on investment of time that you're going to get, in my opinion, because you're going to build your buyers list. So not only can you go find these guys the deals they want, but you can also tailor your marketing to them, but also start networking with other wholesalers. Like, dude, find out who the top 5 wholesalers are in this market. And after you get a hold of, let's say 30 or 40 or 50 of these 600 people, you might be able to call the other wholesalers and say, what inventory do you have right now? What are you trying to sell? And you might have something in the zip code or in the school district that this guy's looking to buy 10 of in the next 2 months, and joint venture and 50-50 split those deals with that guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just about trying to find the buyer or build the buyer's list, although it does that, but it's also the advantage of allowing you to tailor your marketing and really, just kind of get a feel for what's popular. And you'll notice that when you get a hold of 30 or 40 or 50 people, 40% of what they want is the same. It's in these 3 zip codes. So that's very helpful, because then it's like, why market in 10 zip codes if 50 or 40% of my buyers only want these 3? So, you know what I'm saying? Just listen, make a friend. You'll have no problem with that at all, because you're great on the phone. But yeah, that's it. Don't overthink it though. I'm an investor as well. Right now I'm really looking to, just up my wholesaling game and stack some capital. I'm not looking to make crazy profits, 5 to 10K on a deal, maybe a little more even, depending on how much value I can bring you as the investor. What are you looking for? I'm going to start marketing, or I'm getting ready to go to town on marketing. And I'm sure you, as you, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, probably do as well. But so what? People are going to be marketing to the same people. And if you're able to get there before them, like we just paid a wholesaler, or we're getting ready to, like next week or the week after, we're going to pay a wholesaler like 17 grand on a deal that we're buying. And Mike was actually kind of butthurt about it. Not really, but he was like, damn, like I should have made a lower offer. And I'm like, you know what? We offered 7 grand lower than our MAO. It's still a deal, even though we're paying them 17 grand. And he was like, you're right. And I'll be honest, it hurts sometimes paying that 17K, but at the end of the day, like they got the deal. We didn't, and even though we're paying that 17 grand, we'll be able to rehab this and get it rented and cash flow great. And even if we wanted to then go sell it after we rehabbed it, either vacant, retail, or sell it rented turnkey, we'll still be able to squeeze 20 to 25 grand out of it. So again, it's still a deal. And a lot of investors, they know this. They're going to actually, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be appreciative that you called. And you're just going to have a lot of people that are also just passionate about real estate investing. And you're going to find yourself spending 20 or 30 minutes on the phone with some of these people. And that's a great thing, though. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. Get their number. And if you want to do it from your cell phone, that's a great idea too. I mean, the dialer is obviously going to help speed things up. But when you do it from your cell phone, bro, you can just be like, save my number. Or really, you can do that from any of your phones. Ideally use your dialer. But again, scale it back. Don't try to do 3 or 4 at a time. Also change your voicemail for that particular campaign.
Got it.
Don't say, this is Bruce. I'm looking to buy some properties. Some of these people may have a property for sale too, bro. That's another thing. Whenever we're doing our cold calling or cold texting or whatever, and we're trying to find the motivated sellers and we come across a buyer, we add the buyer lead. We find out what they're looking for, or even if they have other properties that they want to sell from the ones that we didn't call on. So again, just make sure that you go into this with an open mind. Your number one goal is to try to find buyers, try to figure out what they want and make friends, but also ask them if they have anything that they want to sell, because you never know, they might. you know, and then just, again, don't overthink it. Use an Excel sheet, build that list. And then, you know, once you have that, either start marketing, or I would say simultaneously start marketing to what they want, but
Mhm.
also start going on Google and typing in sell house fast, Columbus, Georgia, and click on all of the ads. People that are paying $10, $30, $50 a click on those ads. Don't tell them that you're doing that whenever you make those calls to them. But those are the people that are saying, you know, we buy houses. They have the websites. And instead of calling them with a house that you have to sell, instead call them and just say, hey, I'm a local investor. You know, maybe we can partner on these deals. You know, I'm not looking at you as competition. I'm looking at you as strategic partners. Oh, and by the way, I just added 50 guys to my list over the last 3 days, or 100 or 150. So if you have anything that you're having trouble selling, let me see if I can help. Right. Or just let me know down the road if you have something, because, you know, my buyers list is growing and it's strong, you know, so on and so forth. So yeah, don't overthink it. Do you want me to actually pull this and send it to you? I'm happy to do that, or you can go run it. It's really up to you. It won't take me 10 seconds to pull it
Yeah, if
down.
you could export it, that'd be great.
Yeah, you got it, man. So let's make sure that we get this right real quick though. So this is cash buyers, 2 or more beds, 700 square foot, less than a year. And the value isn't really that important. So I would just say, you know, recent cash buyers, 2 beds, 700 square foot is how I label that. So we're going to add to the list. We're going to create a new one. We're going to call this Bruce slash, I already have another one in here for you right there. Bruce slash Columbus GA cash buyers, 2 bed plus 700 square foot. And I'm just going to do plus, and we'll just do 1 year recent. Don't worry about making these file names really long. The longer, the better, really, because it's more detail, right? So we'll save that list. And then that was that like 611. I mean, so really, like, you should be able to hopefully get, you know, 30 or 40% of these people on the phone.
Yeah.
And hopefully half of those people are interested in buying something, you know,
Mhm.
or ask them if they know anybody that is. You know, maybe you get on somebody on the phone that's done their first deal, but they partner with some guy that's doing 5 a month. We'll be like, cool, you know, maybe I can find the 2 of you guys properties. What's his name and number? Let me call him as well. You know, so just keep an open mind, you know. And again, I think you're going to have a lot of success with it because you're not selling anything. You're just trying to help people. And if you lead with value, you're always going to have a higher response on that in return. All right, so my properties, go over here and find Bruce. Here we go. Bruce, Columbus, Georgia, 611. We'll click this to select all. We'll export it out. Perfect. It'll download right here. I'll put it into Slack for you. And then I'm going to share this video with the group as well, just because if anybody else has any questions about pulling cash buyers, that's what we're going to do right there. There it goes. Took a second. So yeah, I'll send it over. Don't overthink it though. You know what I'm saying? But like the criteria that we did, I think is a good place to start. If you don't have success, which I don't think is going to be the case at all, I think you're at least going to have, out of 600 people, I think you're going to at least add somewhere between, I'm guessing here, but at least 30 to 50. I mean, you might even be able to add 100 people to your buyers list in this area, bro. You know? So, yeah, I think this is a great approach. Definitely. I'll Slack that over to you, and let me end the record.